Welcome to Beyond the Ballpark, Hurrdat One's summertime guide to Omaha. I'm Kristyna, here with an episode for parents, grandparents, caregivers. This time, whether you're here for the game or making memories outside of the ballpark, we've got your family-friendly guide to Omaha this time. And even better, there are some options for people who are planning their trip on a budget. So joining me this time are a couple of top-notch Hurrdat One contributors. First, Grace is here, a regular contributor and researcher on this topic, almost a child herself, which makes her very
qualified.
Exactly, very knowledgeable on the subject. Exactly. And Jill, who can also be found on the Hurrdat One platform, talking about her experience and adventures in business and motherhood. So thank you both for being here and for chatting with me today about this thing that we know a lot of families are going to be interested in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So clearly during the Men's College World Series, it feels like a good time to jump into this because there's so much to do outside of the game as well. But first, Jill, what do you think it is that makes Omaha such a great spot for families in general?
I am loving, there's so many things about Omaha that I love. I think the growth we've seen recently with downtown in the last few years has been really exciting for me as a mom with young kids.
I agree.
So that's what I've been loving. I feel like when I go out of town, specifically Kansas City, I'm like, oh, their parks are good. And now I'm like, wait, no, Omaha's parks are right there now too. So.
Yeah, suddenly Omaha's a contender in these things that took you out of town to go enjoy.
Exactly.
Now they're right here at home. A little bit less of a drive that way.
Exactly.
When you're loading up kids and all their stuff.
Yeah.
Traveling with
water bottles coming out of the bag.
Exactly. You have many, many bags just to accommodate a afternoon downtown versus actually getting out of town.
Yes.
But some of those destinations are exactly what we're talking about today too, that we just know that your kiddos or your families are going to love. So Grace, you've done a little research on this too, because there's lots of options, but you did manage to boil down some of your favorites. So I think give us the ones that you like and the reason that you think that they should be on everyone's checklist.
Yes. Well, I think whether you have kids or not, you have to go to the Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium.
Yep.
It's the nation's largest and best zoo. And they have so many different exhibits like the Asian Highlands, the African grasslands, children adventure trails, desert dome. We have the largest desert dome here, which I think is incredible. Yeah. And I recommend that you have to get a 2-day pass. So if you've never been, there's no way you can see everything in one day. And there's just like a bunch of different areas based on kids' interests and age levels and all that stuff. So do your kids have a specific exhibit?
Yeah. It's funny because we actually have the annual pass. I just renewed it.
Of course.
And
a good investment. Yeah.
I've been going and it's kind of nice because there are so many different areas with the weather in Omaha in June.
That's a good thought.
It can be so hot. So it's nice because there's a balance of indoor and outdoor activities.
Yeah.
So the Desert Dome is kind of still hot, but then underneath the Desert Dome, there's Kingdom of the Nights, which I'm still scared of, and my kids, I'll say my kids are scared of it.
Yeah, you can't go down there. No,
they're scared of it as well. But it's nice because you can break up your day with those activities. They also have the splash pad, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
So
when it's hot out.
Yeah.
That's definitely a must hit.
Yeah. And that can be a 1-hour thing. It could be an all-day thing based upon, what your kids like. So that's something we've definitely enjoyed. And then they also have this little play area with hills. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Adventure Trails. But my kids have been loving that recently too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're exactly right too, Grace, that it's so big, little legs, it's hard to get it all done in one day.
That's right.
So even, if you're a family in town, those annual passes are a really nice option as well. But what about, Grace, if, I don't want to say more in the educational vein because the last thing you want to do is trick your kids into learning. Yeah. So there's also some great options for that too, I think, around the city, aren't there?
Absolutely. There's the Durham Museum, which is actually celebrating its 50 years. And so this is the home of one of Omaha's most unique treasures. It was where Union Station was. And so if you want to learn some history, I think this is a great spot for grandparents because it's kind of like a walk down memory lane, maybe nostalgia type thing.
That's a good recommendation.
And you can go inside of trains that used to be running but are no longer, but you can still kind of experience that time period.
Yeah.
And they also have a couple different things going on during the College World Series, like they have a photo exhibit and animation academy, things like that.
Wow. So even activations happening in conjunction with the series that you can take your kiddos to. Yeah, and Durham's such a beautiful space too. And you're right, is something that feels very historic and grand, but we also have great interactive destinations in Omaha too, right? As far as museums or children's museums specifically go.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So Children's Museum, I grew up in Omaha, and that was also always like the go-to spot.
I'm sure very nostalgic for you, right?
Yeah. And of course, it's evolved since I was a kid. So it's a great place for kids to get excited about learning and have the interactive play. And they also obviously have a ton of events going on there as well.
Yeah.
They have that top floor that changes exhibits every so often too. So that's cool. One aspect I like for my kids. But the Children's Museum is always fun for my kids. Like we do most of the same things, some different things.
Of course. Got the greatest hits. Yeah.
The water exhibit, the grocery store. I don't know why the grocery store is such a hit.
Every time.
And I remember being little and liking that too, but I don't know.
It's one of those things where you see mom and dad do it, or grandpa, caregiver, and you're like, oh, I can do that as well. I have a little bit of autonomy to go shopping and
scanning.
Watch their credit card bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's a really special spot. To Grace's point, that's been serving the Omaha community for decades, and still feels really refreshed in there. And by that I mean, of course, kiddos are in and out of there all day long, and it still feels like it's really well kept, and still a great spot to spend a couple hours.
Yeah.
You have children.
Yeah. And on Wednesdays during the College World Series, they'll have the character days. And they always post on social media. So if you know that your kid likes Bluey or a certain princess, if you see that they're there, you got to take them.
Yeah.
And their popcorn is phenomenal.
That's a good insider tip. Yep.
It's like $1.
I love a good popcorn. Just along the riverfront there is also the Kiewit Luminarium that seems to be a newer spot in town, but one that has quickly become a treasure, I think, for families, especially with kids that are a little bit older too.
Yeah, it's very STEM focused as well. And then they have different exhibits upstairs. We can learn about money and different types of currency around the world. And they also have a cafe. So you don't have to pay admission to go into the cafe, but they have really tasty bagels and coffees.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. The exhibits in the Luminarium, you're exactly right, are STEM focused. You learn about different currencies, but also hands-on stuff too that I think is really special for your kids that maybe they are a little bit harder to engage because they're older and they're already thinking things are kind of lame. You can get in there and, build a dam and redirect water, or see how the different aerodynamics of plants and flowers work. And so it's very interesting how they have gone around the country, I think, to identify what are the best ways that older kiddos can be engaged and learn something, and then brought that to Omaha and made it accessible for our families here year round, but certainly ones that are coming to Omaha to visit for the Men's Cultural Series too.
Yes. And outside of the Kiewit Luminarium is that brand new playground. Yes. So if you need to get outside, you can burn some energy. They have a gorgeous new setup. You can climb and everything. Yeah,
you're right. There's also that climbing structure inside the Luminarium too, which is amazing because you walk in, and then just this little tunnel takes you up and into the sky you go. So they have put a lot of intentionality behind the design of that entire building, but also the way they've activated it too is really special. There's, I think it's Thursday evenings. They do, it's the 21 and over event. And I've heard stories of people going there on first dates, but also it's just another way that they continue to serve the community along with their family friendly stuff that happens during the day too. Have you had the chance to go to the Luminarium?
I have. And so my son is 4.5 and he actually really likes the Luminarium.
Really? Okay. That's great.
Yeah. So I think for his age range, like a lot of my friends are like, oh, maybe when they're older, which you mentioned that. But I don't know. There's like a bathtub with kinetic sand in it. My son really loved that.
Yeah. See?
So it's just something fun to do. And I personally like the cafe. Getting a coffee before I go anywhere is
essential for survival at that point. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, and then again, I talk weather. Sometimes when it's super hot, that's a great spot. But then there is that park outside too. So they have those big swings. It's all fenced in, which is really nice too. And there's one entrance and exit. So that's one thing I love too. My kids can explore a little bit, and I don't have to be worried about the river. So,
Yeah.
I love how they built that.
You know, it's funny you bring that up. During the design process, as that park started to be more routinely used, and of course it's very popular now, that was something that people without kiddos didn't immediately understand the benefit of, because, they're like, it's a hassle. I have to go to this one entry and exit. But then parents immediately piped up to say, no, this actually makes our experience and time there more enjoyable, because we only have to watch this one spot where, they might take off running. And kids are so fast. Even when you're adequately caffeinated, they just get away from you. So then that also was a way to show that the design of that space was meant for kids and families to be able to enjoy themselves and hopefully in a worry-free environment. So those are all great recommendations. Is there any place else, Grace or Jill, that you think of that if you're in town, or let's say you're just looking to go to a new part of town in Omaha, that a family must visit?
Well, I think if you want to get one with nature, you can go to the Lawrence Gardens.
Oh, yeah.
It has over 100 acres of different gardens and different things to see. It's a botanical garden, and it imparts beauty and awe and knowledge about local to global natural worlds.
Yeah.
And they also have some events going on during CWS, one of them being the leashes in Lawrence. So you can bring your dogs.
Wonderful.
And do that. It's a great place for just nature and plant lovers. So if you just want to take a walk, get some sun, stroll around. They also have tram tours. So if you don't, if you're not able to walk the whole thing, you can take a little ride with the breeze.
Yeah, again, for short legs, just in case. Yeah, and what a better place to let your pups go sniff. Flowers, plants, that's excellent. And also one of those destinations that feels like a real treasure in Omaha. Just something you wouldn't expect, to have such an expansive and beautiful botanical garden that's just tucked right outside the city's urban core. So it's pretty easy to find, but also really easy to spend an afternoon there too.
Yeah.
Where else? Jill, is there any place that we haven't mentioned that you think?
Well, I was thinking specifically for College World Series was the fan spots.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So Omaha Baseball Village being one of them, which is next to by the stadium by Old Mattress Factory. They have lots of different vendors there. They have food. There is a charity event that they do with flags there as well, and that's just a fun place to walk, by yourself, with your family, with your kids. So that's one that I love.
Yeah, I agree. And that's an excellent transition into our next point of topic, which is the free events that you can find around Omaha. Free, because what better for a family-friendly outing than something that isn't going to break the budget, too. So, FanFest is definitely top of the list for something that your kids are going to enjoy, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa are going to enjoy, because there's games, there's food, there's different activations, to your point. Definitely a lot of ways that you can spend the afternoon, even if you're not going to a ball game, too.
Yeah.
And Grace, in your research, was there any part of the FanFest as well that stuck out to you as being particularly interesting? A thing that, people got to see or hit?
Yeah, well, this isn't free, but you can always window shop because they have tons of different vendors. This is where you're probably going to buy a lot of your sports memorabilia. So your jerseys,
right there.
Your little baseballs. And even if you're not spending money, you can just window shop and look at all the fun things and support those businesses.
Yeah, that's true. And there'll be businesses that you've heard of down there, kind of in that vendor village, but then also ones that are new, making a name for themselves, but also have great options in shopping too. And kind of on that note, during the Men's College World Series, what's kind of trends for families at that time? Or what would you identify as a trend that families... Is it a place they go? Is it spots they must hit? Immediately comes to mind is Zestos, which is ice cream down there, big ice cream culture. But what else, along with that, what else is there that you think of being kind of the trends that families explore during that time of year?
Oh, man. The one I can think of right off the top of my head is it's very popular now to have hats with the patches, and I know they're going to be down at the World Series in Vendor Village.
Yep.
And those hats are just so popular. So when you said trend, I'm like, oh.
You're like,
that's it.
So basically you're already counting on what your kiddos are going to be asking you for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the food trucks. I don't know if we mentioned that, but around FanFest, they have a whole line of different food trucks. So you can try different things, maybe not go outside your comfort zone from just hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yeah, a good opportunity to do that because it's so convenient and located right there. Are there any hidden gems that you think are part of just in or around Omaha. Maybe it's not during the Men's College World Series, but it's year round. If there's something that doesn't immediately come to mind, but something a family should still explore.
Yes. Well, one thing I will never shut up about is Hollywood Candy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, in the old market. It's such a fun place because they have millions of different candies that maybe don't exist anymore or maybe just like limited. But they also have different like nostalgic toys and items. They have a huge record collection. They have an old school diner and movie theater and the pinball machine area.
Yeah.
And so even if you're not buying anything, it's still a cool place to explore, and you can spend hours in there just seeing what you can find, vintage items, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I know we mentioned Zestos earlier, but I also am a big fan of Ted and Wally's, which is really close to Hollywood.
Yep, right down there too. Yeah.
Get a whole night, get some original, yummy, different flavored ice creams, and
yeah, if you're going to Ted and Wally's, be prepared to stand in a line.
Yes.
Because
there's that.
Always packed.
Yeah.
Especially that time of year.
Yeah.
Especially that time of year. During the Men's College World Series, definitely, but just all summer long, people are lining up. Yeah. And Hollywood Candy is such a good recommendation too, because just the pure overwhelmed joy that comes over a kiddo's face as they walk into that building where there is candy lining the entirety of the walls, but also, to Grace's point, little hidden history opportunities or is it musical instruments? All sorts of stuff that they just packed under one roof to make it a really special experience when you walk in there.
I mean, if Warren Buffett and Ariana Grande went there, then you got to try it.
It's good enough for them. Certainly it's good enough for us too. Yeah. And so, and to your point, of course you can make purchases there, but it is something that is still free to do. And we kind of touched on this as well as Omaha's current big free attraction, which is the RiverFront in downtown Omaha too. Tell us a little bit about that space.
Yes. So this space consists of 3 different areas. You have the Jean Leahy Mall, Heartland of America Park, and Lewis and Clark Landing. Yeah. So the past few years, they've done a lot of construction on this area, but now it's finally available and ready for people to enjoy it. So the Jean Leahy Mall, they have a huge live stage, a bunch of greenery, so they play a lot of live music. Sometimes they have random like salsa dancing lessons going on during the summer. They have a state-of-the-art playground, which I'm sure your kids...
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the playground too because it's definitely up for all ages. Yep. My little ones can putz around on the green, and they have sand, they have a couple swings. And then as you get older, definitely there's big climbing opportunities. And sometimes my little ones try it, but
and then they get halfway and they're like, whoop, never mind. Yeah. And they can safely get back down.
There's some big slides there too, which are great. So it's just cool equipment that I've never seen. So I love that it's fresh and new and
highly custom for that reason.
Yes.
It's not going to be like any other playground that you see in the city because it was so specifically designed for that space in consultation with some of the best playground experts in the country, maybe in the world. But the RiverFront in totality is 72 acres, and all of that is green space, activatable space. It's performance stages. It's bocce courts. It's the skate ribbon, which is accessible year round to
hammocks.
The hammocks are so lovely and breezy. Fire pits.
Yeah.
The thing, it just goes on and on with all the different ways that you could spend an evening down there. If you take a picnic, that's lovely. Or you stumble into, like you said, salsa dancing classes.
Yeah.
Or there's yoga that pops up there sometimes, or, CrossFit opportunities. Or if you need something a little bit lower key, there's story time with Omaha Public Library from time to time. So they have a really robust events calendar that keeps families busy. Yes. And it's, you get down there, you park once, and you spend the whole afternoon either walking around the park or heading over to the old market or back over to the ballpark. So that's a really great recommendation for people downtown for the Men's College World Series, because it's a way to just diversify your experience when you're in the city's urban core.
And in my opinion, the Jean Leahy Mall is the perfect spot for that Omaha skyline photo.
Oh, agreed.
So if you're looking for that. And also they have a dog park. So
and the splash pad and the spray ground they have as well. So
Jill's got to leave on splash pads.
I really do.
Yeah.
Where can my kids not be so hot dying?
Just not cook. Yeah, because when it's 90, 100 degrees.
Yep.
You got to let them splash around a little bit, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the scooters are downtown. You could kind of pop around downtown by the stadium.
You really can get, it's pretty easy, especially the way that the park created that connectivity between the different entertainment districts. Suddenly it's a breeze to get from one to the other. And a scooter is a really good way to get that done, too. So, no, there's lots of free opportunities to just be able to take advantage of programming, classes, etc., or just the scenery. But you're right, that's an excellent spot to get that cityscape photo, which is changing a little bit because we have a new high rise going up little by little. But and that's also the benefit, I think, of, there are Men's College World Series visitors that come back every year, even if their team's not playing, just because they've been with us for so long through so many states of evolution that now they're watching along with us too. So it's cool to see how much that's changed year after year. But while you're down there too, it seems like it's a significant tourist destination, but the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge is right in that area too.
Yes. This is right on RiverFront Drive.
Yep.
So this is a spot where if you want to stand in Omaha and Council Bluffs at the same time, this is where you're going to do it. You can You can walk up it, bike it. It's 3,000 feet long, and it stretches over the Missouri River. And I like that at night. It lights up different colors. So you can go there during the day or at night and just get a beautiful view of the city and the river and then Council Bluffs.
Yeah. It's because it's really close to Lewis and Clark Landing, which is then the northernmost part of the riverfront. So as you make your way, along the Luminarium, you walk by the sand volleyball courts and just keep going a little bit more north, and you find the base of the Bob right there. And then it's also a fun bridge to bike over. There's Heartland B-Cycle that's in that area if you want to rent a bicycle, and then gets you over to Council Bluffs where Tom Hannafin Park has occasional activation, but mostly is just a lovely green space that people go and take advantage of too. And then newly opened is the Baby Bob that's right just on the west side of the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge, which provides better connectivity basically from the ballpark area towards the base of the Bob Carey bridge, and then takes you over to Council Bluffs. So there is this intentionality and design down there now too that helps it make everything more pedestrian friendly to get from one spot to the next, especially if you're walking around with kiddos, families, and they need a direct path to be clear to them. Otherwise, you're losing their attention fast. So that whole downtown area, truly, we could talk about it probably for the entirety of this episode, but it is one that is a must explore.
And I love the name Baby Bob. How cute.
Yeah, exactly. Which I was always kind of unclear if that was the official name of it or if we just kind of landed on that and now that's what we're calling it. So you may as well lean into it.
Yeah.
Because that's the name of it now. What about, so just a little bit outside of downtown though, we talked about museums, but there's one that we were saving for this part of the episode because it's something that you can access also for free.
Yes, which is the Jocelyn Art Museum.
And it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. Again, they just did so much construction on it. So now it's reopened again.
Reopened.
Yes, it's 42,000 square foot addition. It's a art collection, gardens. Admission is free, which I think is the biggest thing.
And that addition will be opened for the first time this Men's College World Series. I don't believe it was done
I think
last
it was still
year.
Closed. It was closed last year.
So definitely, if it's been a while since you've went and seen what they're working with there, it is worth exploring because they did a wonderful job of thinking how to create a new modern space that marries with the traditional previous building that was there. And they did it so seamlessly and beautifully that, again, you see wide-eyed kiddos walking around just amazed at what they were able to accomplish in such a short time, too.
I've heard they added some kids' classes and things there. Yeah. So that's on my list for this summer.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. And you'll have to report back. I think it's in just their, the lower level activatable space. There are looks like little classrooms almost where there's tables, chairs, art supplies, the different ways that you make art. Is it with a different medium like pencil and paper or crayons, or is it music that you're making? There's an incredible amount of resources down there, and their programming supports it too.
Yeah.
So we'll be curious what you think about that. Yes, and so Jocelyn's an excellent recommendation. What about a little further west? So we talk about downtown, Midtown, the city's urban core, which are all bustling this time of year. But what if you're staying out west? That's where your hotel's at. Is there anything to do out there that you'd recommend for families as well?
Yes. Well, they just started making the Heartwood Preserve, which is, it's out west. It's across from Boys Town Village, if that means anything. But this is an area where it's a new city hub. It's 80 acres of parks and open space. They're developing an amphitheater. You have walking and biking trails. Yeah. And they frequently have free community events during the summer. So they do a lot of outdoor movies, stuff like that.
There's lots of. Have you visited Heartwood Preserve?
I have not.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're adding to Jill's list while we're at it too.
I'm taking notes. Bring the kids.
So, I mean, on that note, then, Jill, you bop all over town, kids in tow. Is there any place that we've missed on the free family-friendly list that you think would be a good recommendation for folks?
I mean, I've talked about it once and maybe twice, but I'm hopping around to all the splash pads around town.
No, it's a good thought because of how just stifling it gets. And kids, like the rest of us, hate to be overheated. So knowing the splash pad locations is really smart.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one on 188th and Pacific that we frequent quite a bit. There's pickleball courts with it too, which makes it super fun. It's the Grove Park, so that's awesome. So we'll be doing that and going all around.
That's wonderful. Good recommendations too. And on that note, so Jill, how do you plan a game day adjacent day, if I'm saying that right, with the kids?
So I think what I'll be doing this year, I will probably go a little bit early and do the Fan Fest by Capital One, which is right next to the stadium.
Yeah.
They have some fun stuff where, the kids can run around. Yep. So I might just do that and then stay for, part of a game. Part of a game. I don't know about a full game yet with my littles, but
sure.
Plan an ice cream stop.
I think you're going to win them over. Yeah.
And buy snacks. So
that's it. You'll bring the snacks from home, but they'll see it an opportunity for a hot dog or popcorn. And it's like a tractor beam. It calls to them. Yes. Cotton candy. They can't help themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is one nice thing about being in Omaha. I can do one day of that and then do the zoo and just kind of spread it out throughout the few weeks that the College World Series is here. So.
Yeah. I mean, is that your experience parenting in Omaha, that there's just the options seem to be kind of all over the city and so diverse that you really get to kind of pick and choose what it is that your kids connect with and enjoy and then plan from there?
Absolutely. Yep. And what I do is I just keep a notes app of things that I like and then go to their website on their calendars, see what's going on and kind of plan my week out from there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And you kind of touched on this, but on that note, of course, you have littles. Do you have any tips for avoiding burnout or navigating the city during the Men's College World Series?
I mean, rest time for kids and adults, very important.
Yeah.
I just think bringing a huge thing of water everywhere you go, taking a rest in the afternoon in between games if you're out at the games, sitting in a restaurant, getting some food.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones downtown and by the stadium. So just resting.
Yeah. Just try to take it little by little because it's a lot in one day. And something, we should have mentioned, Grace touched on Hollywood Candy, but just in general, the Old Market is a great place to wander, just to take in our city's historic district too. Bars, restaurants, retail, all things that are open down there that you can pop into, cool down, and then hopefully expand your day a little bit as well. So
absolutely.
These are important things to know, definitely.
Bring a battery charger for your phone too, and sunscreen. 2 tips.
Smart.
Yes, exactly. And we've talked about this before too, that kind of the evergreen reminders that you can take empty clear water bottles into the stadium too.
Yeah.
And there's refill stations, there's water fountains you can use, but more than once I've heard that's been a lifesaver that somebody remembered to bring in their water bottle so they could refill.
Yeah.
And hopefully keep the kiddos hydrated so they can last maybe an extra inning or, maybe you've tested your luck to its best extent to that point too. What about, Grace, do you have any tips, being from Omaha, just getting around the city during the Men's College World Series? We know that there's visitors. They're learning the one-ways downtown.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the signs.
Yeah.
I think your biggest friend will be GPS, whether you're walking or driving.
Exactly
and there's also just tons of construction everywhere. So giving yourself enough time to get where you need to go. Yep. And also rent the scooters or the bikes if you feel a little adventurous,
Explore.
Yeah, explore.
Yeah, you really can't go. There's so many great little districts. If it's Little Bohemia, if it's the Old Market, if it's the Capital District.
Midtown Crossing.
Some that are really great for families, some more geared towards adults, but there's kind of endless stuff to do, especially if you're trying to pack a lot into just a long weekend or week, depending on how your team's doing. Maybe you're here for longer if your team keeps winning too. So now I would like to spark just a slight debate, which is we're going to plan a perfect family day in Omaha. In the morning, are you going to the zoo or the luminarium?
Zoo.
Okay.
Cooler and
unanimous.
cooler.
Yeah. And listen.
And it's you can't get either anywhere else, but the zoo is so highly rated.
It's
tough to not choose the zoo.
Yeah.
best in the nation for a reason. Yeah, you don't just earn that title by happenstance. Nope, that's okay. Then we are in agreement there. What about for lunch? Are you going to the Baseball Village food trucks, or are you taking a picnic to Jean Leahy Mall?
Picnic.
I would say picnic as well.
Okay.
I think it just is more low key.
Yeah, see, I might lose you there where I'm going to a food truck where someone's making my food for me.
Okay,
yeah.
true.
I know.
Depends how much in a rush you are.
Yeah.
How motivated were you
Yeah.
making the picnic? That's a very good point. This could be a really excellent picnic, and the food trucks are just so handy and convenient right there too.
Yeah.
And also, to your point, lots of options. Or maybe we should split the difference and say we'll hit the food trucks at Jean Leahy Mall, which are a daily option as
Yes.
well. So yes,
Yeah,
great lunch options. In the afternoon, are you doing free play at the Riverfront, or are you going to one of the museums in town?
Peak of the heat, I'm doing a museum.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think even without kiddos to tote around in my air conditioning, catch me there. And then in the evening, do you catch a Men's College World Series game, or do you stroll across the pedestrian bridge for that sunset view?
I do both.
Oh, yeah. Why choose again?
that?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah.
I love a night game, so
I know.
I know. And when there's like that cooler breeze in the air, the stadium is still filled. If it's a really good game and the energy's high,
yeah.
it is kind of unbeatable. And then also, I have to mention that there is a variety of shave ice options available in the stadium. Ice cream, all of your favorite foods are available for kids to enjoy themselves too. No, I think we've absolutely nailed it. What about you? Well, I got you guys, and we're given tips and tricks. Do you have any parking tricks, maybe stroller friendly areas specifically, or public restroom recommendations? And I know these are things that stay on top of minds for parents, especially when they're going into a new spot.
Yes. Luckily, the Jean Leahy Mall, they have nice restrooms.
Right. Yeah. Actually, all three parks.
There in the
Mm-hmm.
parks, which is nice. Parking tips, I just do this and I pray.
Right. You know what? And
God is on my
sometimes
side.
it
I've
works
gotta
out
get a
for
good
you.
spot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. And to your point, restrooms in actually all three parks. So one in Jean Leahy Mall, there's one in Heartland of America Park, and one in Lewis and Clark Landing.
Yep.
The Lewis and Clark Landing one actually being right by the playground because, again, somebody thought about this way in advance to say, oh, you know what kiddos are going to need after a day at the park is to be able to find.
true.
That's
Yeah.
right. And they are very well kept too.
Yeah,
I've
they're
noticed that.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
You're right.
This is so nice.
Somebody said to me once, they're like, those bathrooms are cleaner than mine at home. And I said, well, thank you. I hope that's not true. But also that's a higher compliment could not be given.
And they also have water stations as well.
Yeah, that's true. All over the place downtown, especially lately with the redesign. And, when you're weather planning as well, we should mention that you can follow the Hurrdat One platform where we'll have weather updates too, especially as we get to the Men's College World Series. But as we're venturing into severe weather season, Hurrdat One is providing content to help navigating that just a little bit easier too. So, I guess to summarize things, what do you think is so special maybe during the summertime, during the Men's College World Series in Omaha? What is it that makes this just the place that keeps bringing families, even when kiddos are grown, moved on, keeps them coming back for more?
I think it is just the feeling, the vibrancy.
I agree.
I feel like it's being from Omaha. It's so special that we have been hosting it for so long. And I feel a sense of pride when people ask, where are you from in Omaha? Or what's at Omaha? It's like, well, we have the zoo and we have the College World Series. So for me, I think it's super special.
Yeah.
And on that note, I would ask, what's something that you always tell visiting friends with kids about what Omaha is doing right?
Parks.
Yeah.
Parks. And then pre-kids, I would say the nightlife down there is a great time. But I haven't been doing that for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, what about you, Grace, too? It's certainly we think about it from a family standpoint for this episode. But yeah, I mean, when you have friends come and visit, again, we say Omaha's kind of a best kept secret. But what's the thing that you say that we're doing right here?
I think safety is a huge thing when you're going downtown or you're visiting a new city. They constantly have people around to help you, security, stuff like that. But then also just the entertainment aspect. There's always something you can find to do, to look at, to wander, whether that's a club or a bar or just a park, somewhere to relax. I think we're constantly moving and upgrading, which is something to be proud of.
I agree. Yeah, that is like kind of the consistent feedback, right? Is everybody always feels safe in Omaha, and that's a top priority too when you're dragging kids around town. Do you have any like chaotic mom moment stories from a men's College World Series, or as you're like visiting any of these destinations?
I think I probably have 30.
Yeah. I was like, certainly you do. You're like,
No.
no, my kids are angels. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like just being a mom, it's always chaos.
I guess
and
it's
we
always
can
chaotic. That's
prepare,
fair.
you
Yep.
know, we can prepare as much as we can with the snacks and the waters and the strollers. But, you know, like you touched on, the safety aspect is one thing that I'll always feel, you know, comfortable getting the kids out of the car and the stroller and going down. That's great to make me feel comfortable as a mom.
Yeah,
So.
that's a good point. And what's something that you always then have in your bag if you're going out, especially to the men's College World Series?
Water bottles, a protein bar,
Uh-huh.
a sucker, just in case I need to, you know,
Bribe them.
bribe them.
Yeah.
A
Bribing
diaper,
material.
baby wipes.
Always important
I
to
think
leave.
I'll always
Yeah.
use baby wipes though, even after my kids are out of diapers, because
All
Just-
this did was show you the benefits
exactly
of having
I
baby
love,
wipes handy.
yep, especially after a food truck. I mean, you need a baby wipe.
Yeah. No,
Napkins don't cut it.
you're exactly right. What about Grace? You know, the men's College World Series obviously brings different experiences every time too. Is there anything that stands out for you just from childhood that makes it a special event that, you know, you hold near and dear to your heart?
When I always went to the College World Series, making memories and saving those memories was a big thing.
Yeah.
So bringing the disposable cameras, like you said, your charger. So if you're just taking pictures on your phones and videos, I think having those memories sometimes are more special than the actual games.
Agreed.
So.
Yeah. And having a good way to capture those too. You know, it's just because it's the environment, but also the fans. There are the fans that come back every year. If they're with LA, we talk about LSU a lot, but it's, you know, the purple and gold, they show up.
Yeah.
And getting to know their fan bases, but then also when there are Cinderella teams, that seems to be the time or the team that Omaha residents rally around. So when there's kind of an underdog, or maybe they don't have a huge traveling fan base, that's when you really see Omaha step up its support, and they're buying all their merch and they're there to cheer them on. So really nobody has a lack of fan base when they come and play at Charles Schwab Field. So no, thank you so much both for your expertise and research on this, because we know that it's something that families are always thinking about. So we're happy to provide a little bit of information on that this episode. Grace, we know you're always pitching in at Hurrdat One, but Jill, where can people find you specifically?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm Hello Jill Duds, Dudz. And my podcast with Hurrdat One is called Behind the Business.
Yeah. Again, lots of adventures and lessons that we can find from Jill too. So again, thank you both. And to you for listening. However long you're in town, we hope you step beyond the ballpark and discover the Omaha that your kids are going to remember forever. And remember to follow Hurrdat One for more Beyond the Ballpark content.